This is my raspberry pie. This is a 3-berry pie with a jammy filling layered inside this golden, beautiful, bubbly crust. This raspberry pie is my father-in-law's favorite pie, so this is super fun to be able to share this recipe with you. I'm really proud of this recipe, and this has been in our family for years and years, and I feel like I've simplified the raspberry pie, and I'm just really excited to share this with you. Okay, so to get started, these are the ingredients that you're going to need. Okay, first I have my berries, and I like to use a triple berry blend, just a frozen berry, and that's one of the things that I love about this recipe. It's just so easy to have these ingredients on hand. And with your triple berry blend, be sure it is raspberries, blackberries, and blueberries. No strawberries in this blend. The water content is a little bit too high, and it's hard to get that nice, jammy, even texture. So even if you do have a berry blend with strawberries, just pick the strawberries out and use them in a smoothie or something. So as you can see, they're all frozen here, beautiful berries, and the blackberry, raspberry, and blueberry. And then for my pie crust, you can make a from scratch crust. For this one today, I'm just going to use 2 pre-made pie crusts, but I have a full tutorial on my website along with all the instructions and recipe ingredients for the raspberry pie. And then for my thickener, I have just some cornstarch, and I'll show you how to coat the berries so that it turns out even and smooth and the same texture throughout. And then sugar, and then I like to add some lemon zest and then also some lemon juice to my pie. So those are my ingredients for raspberry pie. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is put my cornstarch in with my sugar and make sure I get that all out. And then I'm going to mix my sugar and cornstarch together until it's nice and smooth. And there's no clumps. And then to my bowl, I'm going to add 6 cups of berries. You can also use fresh berries for this, that works too. It's just so easy to have frozen berries on hand. That's what I use most of the time. And you don't need to thaw them, you can just keep them frozen. And then to your berries, stir this, and then I'm just going to add my mixture right onto my berries. And then use a spoon to coat everything. You just want to be sure that all of your berries are coated, and then it will be good to go. Okay, and then I'm also going to add just a little bit of lemon zest and lemon juice. And just zest this real quick. And I only need about 2 teaspoons of lemon zest, not a ton. I'm just going to add this right on top of my berries. Okay, and I only need like 2 teaspoons of lemon juice, so probably just a half a lemon will be enough there. And I will just pour that right on top of the berries. And then we can just mix this up again. And then I'll just set this aside while I'm preparing the crust. Okay, so for our crust, it's really easy to do. I'm gonna show you how to do a lattice crust, and you can do all kinds of fun designs on your crust if you want, but I'll just show you a basic lattice design. For our family reunion over Thanksgiving, my niece made a pie, and it was the most adorable thing. If you're on my Instagram, you saw it, but she did a lattice, and then she made like a bow, and it was just the cutest little pie I have ever seen. So you could have a lot of fun with your pie crusts. It's really fun to like get creative. You can use little shapes, or a lattice is a classic go-to. Okay, and then again, on your pie crust, if you start in the middle and then just roll it out towards the edges just to even out all of the thickness on the pie crust. And then to get it onto the plate, I like to just roll it up, and if you have any little bits of flour, you can just brush it off. I'm going to roll it up and then put it right onto my pie plate, and then just tease it down around the edges a little bit. You don't want it to be crimping, so if you can just let it rest and then gently mold it into the pie plate. That's great. And since we are baking the whole pie together, you don't need to do any fork marks. That's only if you are blind baking a pie. So we're just gonna leave it like this, and we're gonna leave the edges on this right now too. All right, so now for my pie filling, I'm going to give it another quick little stir. My berries are still frozen, and that's great. They can be fresh or frozen. Just give it a quick little stir, and then I'm going to add it to my pie crust. And then even it out all over your pie crust. And this will get bubbly, so you don't want to overfill it. And kind of a rule of thumb I use on this is I want it to be pretty level with the top of the pie plate here. So this is just about right. And then for the lattice, this is the fun part. I'm going to lightly flour my rolling pin and my board again. And then I'm going to roll this out. There we go. And just gently unroll it here. I'm gonna turn that over. So for the lattice, I like to cut it into strips, and I like to do some thicker strips and then some thinner strips to make it kind of more rustic looking. So big, medium, small, probably no bigger than about an inch. And one pie crust is enough to do the lattice on top. Because only about 50% of the area is actually like exposed, so it's all latticed together here. All right, so I'm going to set my longer pieces right in the middle and just vary the width of the pie crust. And then I'm going to take half of them, every other one, and pull it back. And then you just keep going until you're done. And now it's every other one. It makes this really pretty design. And I just use like the shorter pieces there on the edges. Kind of get mesmerized by the process of whatever you're doing. There we go. So as you can see, we have lattice all the way around the edges here. And what I like to do is I like to go around and just crimp the edge of it to kind of seal them together. And then you can use kitchen shears, or you can just use a little paring knife. And I'll show you how I like to just trim those. Okay, so I'm just going to cut the edge of this, and I want to leave it past the lip of my pie plate here because I want to do a decorative edge on this one. I go around the whole pie. Okay, and now I'm going to just take the edge of the pie and turn it under. Turn under the very edge there. And if you have any loose little bits, just tuck them into. And even if a little bit of your crust is a little bit thicker than others, it's fine. It will all bake up nice. And to finish this off, I'm going to just use my 2 pointer fingers here and then my thumb and just create a little ridge around the edge of the pie. Look at that. Okay, and then to finish it off, I'm going to add just a little bit of milk to the top. And you can use an egg wash here, or just milk works great too. And I'm just going to brush it. And then I like to put just a little sprinkling of sugar on top, and it makes like a really nice, pretty sugar crusted top. Like I said, an egg wash works really good here too, but I just feel like the milk is a little bit easier. Just get all of the edges. Okay, and then I just use regular sugar. You could use a raw sugar that has a little bit bigger of a grain of sugar, but just regular table sugar works great too. And I'm just going to sprinkle the top of it, get it all nice and coated. You don't really want any standing sugar, but enough that your milk just absorbs it. There we go. Isn't she so cute? She's all ready to go into the oven. Okay, this is gonna go into a preheated 350-degree oven, and it's gonna cook for about an hour. Okay, so my pie is about halfway done, and as you can see, the edges here are getting kind of golden brown. So to prevent them from overcooking, I'm just going to put a little shield around my crust. And the best way I found to do this is just to get little strips of aluminum foil, and you can just lightly try and do it without burning yourself, but you just kind of crimp the edges around there. And I like to kind of fold it in half, just like this, and then put it around the edges, and then that way the top of your pie will continue to bake and become golden, and your edges won't get too dark. So, all right, back into the oven for about 30 more minutes. All right, here is my raspberry pie. The crust is beautiful and golden brown, and look at that jammy, yummy filling just bubbling up. This is the perfect fruity dessert and perfect for anyone who loves warm fruit. And our favorite way to make this is with a dollop of whipped cream on top, or if you're serving it warm, a scoop of vanilla ice cream. I mean, it just doesn't get better than this. This is the ultimate fruity dessert. Okay, so now it's time for the taste test. I mean, look at that scrumptious little snackaroni. I mean, this is so fun. The layers of all of those jam, that berry yummy goodness, and then with just a dollop of whipped cream, I love this so much. It really is like the perfect balance of sweet and then a little bit tart, and then with that creamy whipped cream. It's so yummy. Thank you for watching this episode at the Carefree Kitchen. Again, I'm Jill, and thank you for following along on my raspberry pie journey. And be sure to click the link in the description box, and that will take you to my website where I have all the tips and tricks all laid out with all the ingredients and measurements so that you can just go and print off a recipe. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.